Good morning, dear learners. Welcome to teaching learning session of sociologies. As in this series of family, marriage, and kinship, today we'll discuss about the reimagining families. Right? We'll discuss about the family in detail in our previous lectures. What is family? As we know that family is a concept which you find everywhere in every age and every society, right? It's a universal concept, it's a universal institution, right? Before starting the reimagining of the families, now with the change of time and with the change in the society, the definition of family is changing, right? The structure of family is changing, right? The basic concepts and definitions of family household. What is household? The household, known as the ghar, is a residential and domestic unit composed of one or more persons living under the same roof and eating food cooked in the same kitchen. That is known as the household. When one or more than the one people living under the same roof and eating the food cooked in the same kitchen, then that is known as a household. People can be a member of one family while not sharing a common house, while not sharing a common household, right? Difference between family and a household. Household means when people are living together in a same roof, under a same roof, and eating a food cooked in the same kitchen, right? So there is a difference in family and household. A family is based on the principles of kinship, whose members usually share a common residence, right? A family, as we discussed, family again, family is a family when two or more person live together under a same roof and cook food, and eat food cooked in the same kitchen. But important thing about that is there should be a relationship between the members of the society. They are bounded by the kinship, right? This family is based on the kinship system. There should be some relationship when they are living under one roof. According to am shah, kin and residence rule distinguish between the family and a household. In household, two or more people live under the same roof, right, and can eat food cooked in the same kitchen but cannot be bounded by the kinship system. Say suppose you are sharing a room with someone, with your colleague, right? Then that could be a household but not a family. So according to am shah, kin and residence rules distinguish between the family and household. The household is an extension of family. Family can be household, but household need not to be a family, right? Remember this thing. A family could be a household. Yes, people living under one roof and eating food cooked in the same kitchen, and but they are related to each other through kinship system. But a household need not to be a family. Right? When you are sharing your room or the flat with someone, then that is not a family. That is just a household, right? A group of people can live together regardless of whether there are any kinship ties or not. For example, flatmates, such as students, people living their own multiple occupancy home for migrant worker, etc., are the households. So people are living under the same roof, eating the food cooked in the same kitchen, but there is no kinship ties between them. Then that is known as the household. Family not only consists of household, but often family is an extension of two or more household member of which though may have separate residence, yet may belong to the same family and have a familial bonding and the responsibilities. Maybe see, super family, in family that kinship ties are very important, right? Family consists of the household, right? It could be an extension of two or more household. People might be living in the different household, but they could have a separate residence, but yet they belong to the same family. There is a kinship ties, kinship bonds between the families, and have familiar bonding and the responsibilities. They have some bonding and the responsibility. They might live in different residence. Family, along with being a functional unit, is more an ideological and emotional unit, whereas household may be described as more of a functional unit. See, kinship system is for one of the thing which differentiate between the household and the family, right? And there could be the different residence, but again there is a kinship system, there is a bonding between the members of the family, and they are related to each other through the responsibilities. Second is family, along with being functional unit, is more ideological and emotional unit. See, it's a functional unit. Family is a functional unit, but it is ideological and emotional unit. People are united through each other or tied through each other emotionally. Whereas household is just a operational unit, functional unit. Right? They are. It might not be necessary that people are emotionally attached with each other, or there is an ideological attachment, right, or similarities. Domestic group can be described, next term is the domestic group. Domestic group can be described as a group of people residing together and sharing activities of domestic life. It is often the synonym of the household. It is the synonyms of the household when people are residing together and sharing the activities of domestic life. Now, the sociological perspectives. Sociology looks at the social institution of family through many lenses, but its four dominant theoretical premises are: see, first is functionalism, second is conflict, third is symbolic interaction, and fourth is feministic perspectives. So see, many sociologists looks at the social institution of the family through many lenses, but four important perspectives are: the first is the functionalism. Functional perspective. What is the functional perspective? The functional perspective demonstrate that family is a vital institution. It's an institution. Family is an institution. It's a samstha, right? Where people are attached together and there are certain rules and everyone has to follow those rules, right? So it's a family is a vital institution. According to it, family has important functions for the society and individual. Family plays a very important role in individual's life as well as in this society. We get our values and beliefs from the society. So family uh, helps in development of an individual, right? So family plays a very important role in the life of individual and society. So family has a very important function in society and individual. They have analyzed family, these functionalists have analyzed the family in terms of functions it performs, and mostly highlighted the positive function because they are functionalists, and they always highlighted the positive functions, and they actually analyze the family on the basis of the functions of the family which the family performs, functions of the family, right? And they mostly highlighted the positive functions of the family. Like G. Murdoch, family, according to G. Murdoch, family performed four functions, namely the regulation of sexual behavior, second is reproduction, third is economic cooperation, and fourth is socialization, right? See, the according to Murdoch, there are the four functions, four important functions of the family. The family performs the four important function. First is sexual, that is it regulates the sexual behavior. Fourth is reproduction, that is the procreation, right? Third is economic cooperation. People help each other economically, and socialization, because family is the one through which helps the individual in socializing, right? Then, according to Talcott Person, efficacy of a family rests in two important functions of primary socialization of the children and stabilization of adult personality. So as per target person, the two important roles which family perform is first is socialization. It is through family we learn this socialization process, how to behave in society. So, first is socialization of the children, and second is stabilization of the adult personality. Right? The function performed by the institutions of the family, highlighted by the functionalist theories, are biological family provides a legitimate platform for two adult members to sexually cohabit together as a couple and enhance the social continuity. So first is procreation. Because a biological family, it's because biological family provides, it's an institution, so there are certain rules, and it provides the legitimate platform where the two adults can cohabit together, right? And they cohabit together as a couple and can enhance the social continuity, right? Second is family provides shelter and fulfills the basic metabolic needs of meeting food intake. So family helps in fulfilling the basic needs of the family members, right? It provides the shelter and fulfills the basic metabolic needs. What are the our basic needs? Food, clothes, and the shelter, right? So family fulfills the basic needs of the individual. Family act as an economic unit in which members take part in the productive activity. Member may do similar or the different jobs. So everyone in the family work and helps in economic growth of the family. So family is an economic unit where the members take part in the productive activities, and member may do similar or the different types of the jobs. Household works are divided on the basis of division of labor, and this basis of division of labor is based on the age, gender, and position of a person in a family, and even competency. So there are certain important roles that a family plays, that it provides a legitimate platform where people can help in where people can cohabit together and and perform the sexual activities. Second is it fulfills the basic needs of the individual. Third is it acts as an economic unit where each and every individual of the family take part in the productive activity, right, and helps economically. And then the fourth is there is a division of labor, right? Household, there is the household or household works are divided, right, on the basis of division of labor. And this division of labor could be based on the age. It depends on the age, right? Then it depends on the gender and the position of a member in the family, right? And even the personal competency. So every each and every individual helps in household from top to bottom. Then next is the conflict theory. What is the conflict theory? Conflict theory states that society is characterized by conflict between social groups with unequal power and competing interests compete for scarce resources. They examine families' function within the society to perpetuate structural inequalities. Then it is a conflict theory. Conflict, as the name indicates, that there is a conflict between the two groups. So conflict theory states that society is characterized by the conflict between the social groups. There is always a conflict between the social group. Why? Because group with unequal power compete with each other, right, for scarce resources, right? They have unequal power and they have a competing interest for the scarce resources. And society is based, according to the conflict theorist, society is based on this. And they examine the family in this light, in this scenario. This perspective suggests the family structure contributes to the social inequalities because it supports the economic and gendered inequality by reinforcing the patriarchal values. For example, Intergenerational transmission of wealth in families creates and maintains inequalities. So conflict theory states that in the family structure, this family structure contributes to the social inequality. This family structure or this because there is inequality in the structure of the family, and it contributes to the social inequality. How family structure contributes to the social inequality? Because it supports the economic and gender inequalities, right? On the basis of gender, see, on the basis of their gender, there is an inequality. What a boy can do, especially if we look at these some societies, there is that there is an inequality on the basis of the gender. What a boy can do, what a girl cannot do, right? There is a distinction between there is a distinction, or there is a see they have differentiated the work on the basis of the gender. There is an economic differentiation on the basis of the gender, right? It could be on the basis of gender, or it could be otherwise too. There are economic differentiations. Some families are rich while others are not. Then again, there is a glass ceiling effect. That is, glass ceiling effect is that the female get the less pay, or a lower position than the males, right? It is because of the patriarchal values. So according to the conflict theory, that there is an inequality in the family structure on the basis of the gender and on the basis of the economy, and this leads to the social inequality, right? Because of the this inequality is reinforced because of the patriarchal values, right? Next is social interactionism. Social interactionism is a social theory that focus on the analysis of pattern of communication, interpretation, and adjustment between individual in relation to the meanings of symbols. Social interaction is what? Social interaction is related to the pattern of communication. So this theory focuses on the analysis of pattern of communication, in what way you communicate. Then it depends on the interpretation, how an individual interprets the situation, and the adjustment between the individual in relation to the meanings of the symbols. How an individual interprets the symbols or this situation. This perspective emphasizes that families reinforce and rejuvenate bonds through symbolic mechanism, rituals such as the family meals and holidays. They also explored that changing meaning. They also explored that the changing meanings attached to the family. This theory argues that shared activities help to build emotional bonds among the family member, and that marriage and the family relationships are based on negotiated meaning. So social interactionism states that there is an interaction between the members of the family. It could be symbolic interaction, right? So it could be the pattern of the communication, how the members of the family communicate with each other, how they interpret this situation, and the adjustment between the members in relation to the meaning of the symbols, how they interact, right? Like the family reinforce and rejuvenates the bonds through a symbolic mechanism, that is the ritual that the family such as the family meals and the holidays, when the family sits when the family all the members of the family sit together and take their dinner together. So this is a type of a this is symbolic interaction, where people sit together, they will have some communication, and then how they react, it depends, it increases the bond, right? And next is the critic of the classical theories. Now there are certain critics, they criticize this classical theory, right? Cultural theory, beyond blood and marriage ties. Till date, what the family we consider a family, we consider if the family on the basis of blood or on the basis of the marriage. If people are married to each other and they have a children, and when they are living in the same household, then we consider it as a family, they are a family. Or if they are related to each other through blood, then we consider them as a family. But now, nowadays, the society is changing. This is the classical theory of the family. Now few sociologists and anthropologists criticize this classical theory, and this cultural theory states that there could be a family beyond the marriage and the blood ties, right? So, cultural theory beyond blood and marriage ties. The cultural theories made the claim that classical definition of family were heavily influenced by largely unexamined Western cultural assumption about biology and its relationship to the kinship. Post 1980s, changes were visible in the theories of family, especially in kinship studies, where the traditional embedded assumption about the universality of the family and its sociological purpose were debated and ultimately discarded. So, as I told you, according to the classical theory, that a family could be based either on the blood relation or on the basis of the marriage. But post 1980s, people started debating about this theory and started criticizing this theory. Now, family began to reimagine beyond the ideal nuclear family or and biological ties for the reproduction, right? What are the main functions of the families? That is procreation, regulating the sexual activities, and economic help, right? But now theorists started examine the theories or reimagining the families beyond the nuclear families and the biological ties, right? The meaning of family reimagined are at two new levels. Now they have started reimagining the families, and they are at the two levels. That is, children are no longer taken as a necessary preconditions, right? Procreation, according to this family, important function of the family is procreation, that is the reproduction. Now, according to reimagining of the family, it is not required. The procreation is not a necessary condition, precondition, right? So children are no longer taken as a necessary precondition, for a family, and family relation are extended to include friends, right? Till date, according to the classical theory, only the relatives who are either related to one another through blood or through marriage ties, they are considered to be the family. Now the family relations are extended to include the friends. Now, because of the change in this society, now everyone has started reimagining the family, right? Now, a feminist perspective, power and discrimination, right? Mainstream studies have described the family as indispensable social institutions based on cooperation, harmony, common interest, and equality. This is the classical theory, right? To large extent, they have also taken men within the family as a basic unit of their study and have neglected the women's experiences. Now, the feminist perspective is that the previous studies have taken the men as a unit of study, and they have neglected the women's perspective or their experiences. It could be different, right? The feminism challenge the vision of family as cooperative, harmonious, and egalitarian realm. Right, so they, according to the feminist perspective, that they challenge this equality, harmonious, and cooperation type of the things. They have sought to show that rather than being a mutually beneficial institution maintained on the equal contribution of all members, a family function largely with the exploitation of the women's labor. right? Because according to the feminist perspective, the classical theories or the earlier theories taken men as a unit of study, and they have, and by taking the men as a unit of study, they said that this mainstream studies were described the family as an indispensable social institution, and this indispensable social institution, that is family, is based on the harmony, equality, common interest, and cooperation. The feminist perspective challenged it, and they said that yeah, these theorists or the sociologists overlooked the women's perspective, right? Yeah, they thought that rather than according to the feminist, that a family is not a mutual beneficial institution. It is not maintained on the equal contribution of all families. According to feminists, the family function largely on the exploitation of the women's labor. They have to work more. Women have to work more, and they get less rights. The feminist criticism bring to scrutiny family by focusing on the power dynamics underlying it. So they challenge the as I said that they for that according to the feminist, that the this family, this institution is not equal, that is, it is not maintained on the equal contribution of the all family, and family function largely on the exploitation of the women's labor. And exploitation means they get the less rights, that there is a power discrimination, right? Males get more power than the females. They eliminate the hierarchies and the sexual repression that underlie the family, and henceforth reflect on its oppressive characteristics. So, according to the feminist perspective, this classical theory that the feminist highlighted the repressions and the hierarchies that underlie the family, and this reflects the oppressive characteristics, right? Feminists like Marxist and the functionalist have argued that family is essentially a conservative institution that function to preserve the social order. Positivist, according to positivist, it is family is important as it helps in so maintaining the social order. Same as the as per the functionalist and the Marxist, the feminists to the same line. According to feminist, the family essentially a conservative institution. According to the feminist perspective, that it is a conservative institution and function to preserve the social order. They disagree with the functionalist and agree with the Marxist that in doing so it benefit only the powerful group within the society. For feminist, this group is men, right? According to Marx, again, that as we all know that Marx has divided the group into two. That is one is those who own the resources, and those who don't own the resources. That is, one is uh, 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 one who master, and next is slave types, right? So feminist, they agree with the Marx and the functionalist that the family plays an important role in social order, but they disagree with the functionalist, but they agree with the Marx that in doing so, in maintaining the social order, this family helps or the benefits only the powerful one, the group which is powerful in this society. That is, according to the feminist perspective, which group is powerful? That is, men are powerful and women are oppressive. So this maintaining social order through family, it oppresses the women further. So it is not maintaining the social order, it is responsible for the oppression of the women. They argue that family preserves, support, and embed the patriarchy. So, family is the unit which preserves the patriarchy, which supports the patriarchy and embed the patriarchy. Feminists criticize mainstream theories for not recognizing existing unequal power relations within the family, and help maintain patriarchy at the cost of women's life and rights. So, as per these classical theories or the mainstream theories overlooked the unequal power relationship within the family, right? And because of this unequal power relationship within the family, it helps in maintaining the patriarchy at the cost of women's life and rights, right? Now, choice and regulations in marriage. So family, so there are various perspectives of the family. Now, choices and regulation in marriage. What are the variation in conception of marriage? Marriage is again an institution like family. Family is an institution. Marriage is an institution. Has been academic interest due to its universality, commonality of certain characteristic, and diversity of types of patterns. Not every society, I'm sorry, not every society has similar pattern of marriage, as there are several types of marriages. There are many forms of marriages, as are different types of family systems. There are various types of marriages, and we discussed the various types of the marriages. The most commonly known type of marriage is monogamous marriage. We discussed about the monogamous marriage. What is monogamous marriage? Where one man can marry a one woman, right? That is, they can, where one man and one woman can enter into matrimony. This is the monogamous type of the marriage, that is one man can marry only a one woman. That is monogamous type of the marriage. Some society have polyandry and polygyny. Polyandry, where one can have many partners. Polyandry is where male can have many wives, or polyandry is where female can have many husbands, right? Polyandry and polygyny. In society where polyandry is norm, that is woman is married to more than one man, means one man can have more than one, that is polyandry is, then polyandry is where man can have many wives. That is the polyandry. Polygyny refers to the marriage where men marries more than one woman at the same time. That is polygyny, right? That is polygyny is when one man marries more than the one woman, and polyandry is when women marries more than the one male, then that is polyandry. So most common type is monogamous type of the wife. According to a monogamous type of the marriage, according to Malinowski, marriage is a contract for the production and maintenance of the children. Various anthropologists define the marriage in the different way, right? According to Malinowski, right, marriage is what? Marriage is nothing but a contract, and this contract is for the production and the maintenance of the children. Then the Westmark defines the marriage as a relationship of one or more men to one or more women, which is recognized by the custom or the laws, involve the certain rights and the obligations or the duties, both in case of the parties entering the union and in case of children of it. So that is according to the Western mark. Men marries, when men or women marries one or more than the one, can have more than the one partner, and they are when they marry, that marriage is recognized by the customs and the laws, and there are certain rights and duties associated with this marriage, right? According to the Kathleen God, marriage is a union between a man and a woman, such that children born out of the women are to the women because of this wedlock are recognized as the legitimate offsprings of both the parents. While most society prescribe or expect a certain form of a marriage, the reality is shown a certain flexibility. Now, divorces and remarriage, because of the change in the society, and now this concept of divorce and remarriage has emerged. The concept of family and marriages are intertwined, right? Family could be because of how family, we can describe the family into two, that is either on the basis of the blood or on the basis of the marriage. If family is on the basis of the blood, then there could be the divorces and remarriage. That is the concept of family and marriages are intertwined. Divorce is the dysfunctional family. When what the family what is the dysfunctional family, when a family cannot function. So divorce is nothing but a dysfunctional family. As the term suggests, it refers to family that it is not able to perform the function it is supposed to do, right? When a family is not able to perform the function which it is supposed to do, then that is known as the divorce. One of the reason for this could be that family breakup due to the failed marriage, right? When the partner in the marriage decided to part away is referred to divorce. Divorce is when the partners decided not to be together, right? Then that is known as a divorce. There is a strong link between the religion and divorce in many society. Marriage is sanctioned by the religious rituals and the sanctions. Marriage is always related to the religion, and this there is a strong link between the religion and the divorce, right? So marriage is sanctioned by the religious rituals and the sanction. For Durkheim, an increased rate of divorce was a cause of concern. In his book Suicide, he links divorce and suicide. As per Durkheim, divorce by mutual consent has a negative impact on the institution of marriage and also represented a loosening grip of the moral authority of the society. So, as per Durkheim, this divorce is not good, and this increased number of divorce shows that the loosening grip of the moral authority in the society. For him, it is important to protect the institution of marriage rather than the individual interest. When the two individual gets apart, when they feel like that they cannot be together, when their interests are not met with right. So according to the Durkheim, this institution of marriage is more important than the individual interest, because Durkheim always, according to Durkheim, society is more important than the individual. This was because he saw marriage as an institution that regulates the social life, sexual regulation, and brings a certain social order. The ground for divorce have been spelled out both by custom and laws in the different communities, because as we said that this marriage is sanctioned by the religion, right? Laws, customs, rituals, sanctioned by the customs, rituals, and the laws. And there are the certain grounds for the divorces, and these grounds have been spelled out by the customs and by the laws on the different, according to the communities, in the different communities. During 1940 and 48, several provinces and states passed the laws permitting a divorce for Hindus. Right? According to Hindu, this marriage is a dharma. And we see, because it is associated with the dharma, it is important for everyone to get married, because it is considered to be one of the things, it is considered as a dharma. So divorce, we see divorce as a taboo, right? In 40 and 48, several provinces and the state passed laws permitting divorces for the Hindus. The Special Marriage Act of 1954 introduced and clarified the grounds of the divorce. According to the Special Marriage Act, there are different. This law clarified the grounds on the basis of which one can seek divorce. It has been available to all Indians who have chosen to register their marriage under this act. The Hindu Marriage Act of 1955 was amended several times since 1955, right? Uh, to incorporate a wide range of grounds for the divorce available to both men and women coming under the preview of this act. So, 1954 Act is the Special Marriage Act, and in 1955 a Hindu Marriage Act was passed, and it has been amended several times. Among the Muslim, marriage is a contract. In Hindus, marriage is a dharma, while among the Muslims, marriage is a contract. and the divorce is allowed. However, before 1939, a Muslim wife had no right to seek divorce except on the ground of the false charges of adultery, insanity, or impotency of the husband. But the dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act 1939 lays down several other grounds on the basis of which Muslim wife may get divorce decree passed by the order of the court. And public attitude to divorce in India is still not very liberal in spite of the legal permission of the divorce. Right? Although there are the legal permission of the divorce and there are the grounds on the basis of which one can seek the divorce, there are the laws and the as well as the customs. According to, there are certain rules and the customs of the several communities on the basis of which one can seek the divorce. But again, the public attitude toward the divorce is not liberal in India. Laws regarding the marriage. In all society, marriage is governed by certain rules and regulation. That is why we call it as an institution. Right? Institution is what that it is governed by certain rules and regulation. The rules may be traditional rules governed by the societal norm, or the legal rules by the state. So rules could be either the societal rules or the legal rules. One of the first rule of marriage was made regarding the age of marriage. The first legislation in this direction was the Sharda Act, also known as Child Marriage Restraint Act of 1929, which fixed the age of the marriage of a boy for the boys at 18 and for girls at 14. Today, the legal age of marriage is 18 and 21. Right? So, this is the rule of the marriage that there is a well defined the age for the marriage for boy and a girl. The legal and the traditional rule of marriage also includes regarding the remarriage and the divorce. Right? So there are the legal and traditional rules of the marriage, that it is related to the widow marriage or the remarriage or the. In many instances, traditional rules of marriage, remarriage, and divorce may be based on the religious tradition. Both marriage and divorce involve a legal process. The Hindu Marriage Act and the Special Marriage Act, Indian Divorce Act 1869 amended in 2001, are example of the legislation related to marriage and divorce in India. Right? Rules regarding the marriage. Right? There are certain rules like members have abide by the prohibitive and prospective rules of marriage while selecting their marital partner. We discussed about the incest rule, that is the endogamy, and second important rule is member have to abide by the prohibitive and prescriptive rules of marriage. It is required that you should be abide by the prohibitive and prescriptive rule. That is the incest rule. One of the core norms regarding choosing the spouse is based on the incest rule in almost all the societies. The rule decides who is outside the category of those one can marry, means whom you cannot marry. They are outside the category of one can marry. And this rule refers to the sexual union of the near kin. You cannot marry the near kin. This obviously includes the immediate family, siblings, parents, grandparents, and so on. In many society, parallel cousins are also included in this category. Prohibitive rules are those rules which put restriction on the men and women from entering into the marital alliance within the certain category of the people. And this endogamy. Endogamy is a social rule that require a person to marry within the defined social group of a group of which he is a member. Right? Endogamy is a rule of marriage in which life partner outside the group is prohibited. Endogamy means that is you can choose that is from the group in which one can marry. That is endogamy. Is a social rule that require a person to marry within the defined social group. Right? Marriage is allowed only within the group, and the group may be caste, class, tribe, race, village, religion, etc. The purpose of endogamy are, for example, to maintain the racial purity, geographical separation, religious differences, cultural differences, sense of superiority or inferiority, the policy of separation, and desire to keep wealth within the group. While exogamy is a social rule that prohibit a person from marrying within a well-defined social group, right, of which he or she is a member. It is opposite to the endogamy rule. Exogamy is a practice of marriage in which an individual has to marry someone outside his or her own group. That is exogamy. Exogamy marriage assumes various forms of Hindu of India such as Gotra and Spinda. Their positive and negative rules of marriage determine the unit within which one should marry and the unit when one should not marry. The positive rules pertains to the unit of endogamy within which one can marry. Caste, subcaste, endogamy is example of this rule, and rules do not permit to marry outside their religion. That is endogamy. The negative rule promote the unit of exogamy within which one must not marry. Among the higher caste Hindus, this unit one is Gotra, right? One cannot marry within the Gotra. Then the preferential and the prospective rule. The endogamy and exogamy can be the preferential or the prospective rule, which gives the preferences of the certain alliance over the other. We discussed about it, right? Like the cross cousins marriage, the marriage of the two individuals who are the children of siblings of the opposite sex. That is, a man marries his mother's brother's daughter and his father's sister daughter. It is called a cross cousin marriage. Such type of marriages practices among the Gonds of Madhya Pradesh and Aran of Kharia, tribes of the Jharkhand. Such type of marriages are also found in the southern part of the India. Right, that is the cross cousin marriage, where where the children of the sibling of the opposite sex, that is a man, marries his mother's brother's daughter. Right, parallel cousin marriage, a marriage of two individuals who are the children of the sibling of the same sex. That is, a man marries his mother's sister's daughter or father's brother's daughter is called the parallel cousins marriage, and such type of marriage is seen among the Muslims. Then the levirate marriage. Levirate marriage is a practice of a custom in which widow marries her deceased husband's brother. When a widow marries her late husband's brother, it is known as the natal or nantra. Such type of practice is prevalent among the Toda of Nilgiri Hills. It is also known as natal or nantra marriage. It is also found in the some parts of the Punjab. So, levirate marriage. Sororate marriage. Sororate is a practice of or a custom in which a widower marries the late wife's sister. That is sororate. Breaking the rules of the marriage, like intercaste marriage, interreligion marriage, and the same-sex marriages are the breaking rules of the marriages. Power and discrimination in the family, right? As we said, in family, that there is a discrimination among the genders, right? And as per the feminist perspective, the power lies in the hands of the men, right? So power, discrimination, and family, right? What is the relationship between the power, discrimination, and the family? The family has been described as a patriarchal institute in which the male member control everything. The term patrilineal, right? The rule of the father is based on the system of hierarchy power relationship in which family in which men controls the women's production, reproduction, and the sexuality. That is the patriarchy. The power lies in the hands of the men. Family is the fundamental unit of socialization and ordering. We all know all these things. Family imposes idea of masculinity and the femininity and expects the member to behave accordingly. So it is the family which imposes the idea of masculinity. or the femininity, and they expect that members should behave accordingly, um, uh, that there is a biasness in the family according to gender, as on the basis of the gender. Boys are expected to show their masculine behavior and girls have to follow their feminine roles. In feminine context, women become victim of subordination, that is under male authority, exploitation, right? That is exploitation like the burden of the household work, lack of access of education, mobility, healthcare, nutrition and property, and then the operation, that is violence against the women. All these patriarchal practices make the institution of a family more discriminatory in nature. Authority and domination. Family is an authoritative unit in which the senior most member, male member, become the head of the unit. So authority lies in the senior most, in the hands of the senior most male member. He takes all the major decision on the behalf of the family members. All members are expected to submit to the authority of the heads in income pooling, cash expenditure, and other actions. Within the authoritative structure, men and women experiences the differential treatment, rights and privileges. Right. So there is a differential treatment in terms of rights and privileges in authoritative structure between the male and the female, among male and the female. Their rights differ when it comes to the distribution of resources such as land, property, and so on in patriarchal society. Women becomes completely dependent on the male members, and the hierarchical structure gives men a sense of control over the women's lives. And women and female children become easy target for their authorities and their discriminatory attitudes. Right. Then the household work and the distribution, the natural and perceived division of labor between the men and women is that men are considered to be breadwinner, women are expected to take care of the household and rear the children. So there is a division of labor among on the basis of the gender. While men's work outside the house are recognized and taken seriously, women's work in the household are not even considered as a work, and women's work remain invisible in South Asia, right? Because they are the breadwinner, they are working outside, so it is their work is recognized and taken seriously. And the women's work, when they work in the household, they even don't consider it as a work, and it remains invisible. Female subordination is rooted in the division between the domestic and the public sphere. A woman has a minimal role to play in the family's decision-making process. In many places, that women plays a very minimal role to play in the family's decision-making process. While the agriculture sector in India has a large female labor force that works in the field and looks after the storage of the grains and preservation of seeds, kitchen gardening, and care of the livestock. And female workforce is largely a part of the informal sector too in India. They do not enjoy the benefits of the direct participation in it, except the small number of instances where their work is cooperative or similar organization. So even they work harder than the males, but again their work is not recognized. Despite this, educated women's employment in the territory sector has increased many times over during the past few decades. There is a variety of jobs carrying the salary ranging from low to very high. They even if they are educated, even there is a glass ceiling effect. Means females are paid less for the same type of the job, and the males are paid higher than the females, right? Then the son preferences, no doubt that the people prefer the son over daughters. Son preference is widespread attitude in Indian families, we all know. But its degree and consequent degree of discrimination against girl child varies in the different region. right? That they prefer the son, and the consequent degree of the discrimination against the girl child very in the different region. Preferences for the male children has much to do with the reproductive decision making, which is again is controlled by the patriarchy. One of the reasons for the son preference cited in this study is that son will continue the parental line and they have the right over the ancestral property unlike the daughters, but nowadays daughters have equal right on the property as per the laws, Indian laws. But again, the study shows that the study of the John et al in 2008, this shows that they prefer the son because people feel like that they will continue the parental line and they have a right over the ancestral property unlike the daughters. It is commonly held that only son can perform important death and ancestral rituals. Sons' right to parental property are coupled with the responsibility of care of parents in their old age and of continuing protection of gifts for the married sister. The daughters are considered as a burden since parents have to bear a lot of expenditures for their marriage. So they are considered as a burden. Female infanticide be a decision of the male member is largely reflection of the patriarchal value. Marriage and dowry practices are there, right? Marriage is regarded as an essential for girl irrespective of the caste, class, region, race, really ethnicity. The main purpose of marriage is to establish a family, produce the children, and to further the family's economic and social position. The social pressure for marriage is so much that in many families there is a practice of the child marriage. Child marriage has many effects on the girl's health, that is, increased risk of sexual transmitted diseases, cervical cancers, malaria, death during childbirth, and obstetrical problems. Girls' offspring are at the increased risk for the premature birth and death as neonates, infants, or the children. Marriage brings dowry to the bride's family. Marriage brings dowry to the groom's family. Even after the education, girl's family need to pay the dowry, and parent of a girl spend time and money on daughter the best possible wedding. This is demanded of them by their own beliefs or by the community or by the social norms. That is dowry. Dowry is that the marriage brings dowry to the groom's family, and even after education even after education, the girl's family is supposed to pay to the groom's family. It could be on the basis of the demand, it could be their basis of their own beliefs or the customs or the rituals or the social norms actually. The social consequences of increase in dowry payment are severe, and it has devastating the effect on the lives of unmarried women. This dowry, the females are considered as an economic liabilities. Besides the dowry, child marriage and widowhood often contributes to the plight of the women, which is influenced by the perception of gender within the family, right? Then again, food allocation and medical care, there is a differentiation on the basis of food allocation and medical care. Discrimination in the family often comes with the practice around the food, nutrition, and the medical care. Food availability does not always ensure the equal access to the family members. Even today, the distribution of food and the nutrition depends on the age old traditions and the norms. Right? Belief like girls are strong and will survive, but boys are weak and hence need extra care. Girls have to learn early to survive. So there is a differentiation on the basis of the food's nutritional value and the medical values, right? People prefer sons over the daughter while it comes to the food or the medical uh, help. That's all for today. We'll continue with this in our next lecture. Namaskar.